Hello, Packers fans, wherever you may be. It's time for another edition of the Pack Attack Cast. We are now 4 days away from Packers versus Lions. We've got a lot to talk about today. We've got practice notes to go through, especially participation. I'm going to tell you what to be worried and not to be worried about as far as who participated and who did not participate in practice yesterday. Also, is Matt LaFleur playing mind games with the Lions? That's something we should probably dive into. And some further thoughts on the game on Sunday and some things that we really need to see the Packers do if they want to win the game. But first and foremost, got something I really got to talk about here first before I forget. We did it. We got to 7,000 subscribers before the start of the season with 4 days to spare. Really want to appreciate everybody. We had a great day with subs yesterday. And I want to thank everyone from subscriber number 1 to subscriber 9,000. You all have a special place in my heart. Never expected to get to 9,000 before the start of the season. My initial goal when I started the channel 4 months ago was to get to 5,000 by the start of the season, and we're already at 9,000 subscribers with 4 days to go. Really excited about that. Can we get to 10,000 before the week 1 game against the Lions? I know that's a long road to go, but we might as well stretch that goal. I'm going to try to have a special bonus segment at Lambeau Field for this milestone. So as close as we could get to 10,000 between now and kickoff would be fantastic, but really appreciate everybody who put in the effort of pushing that subscription button. Also give us a like if you've already subscribed, because that really helps more people discover the channel. So as I like to say, and as we like to say in the military, we're 3 days in a wake up from the Packers versus Lions. Let's get you up to speed and ready for the game. Let's talk about practice participation. One of the things that really spoiled us during training camp was the beat writers were there, the public was there, there was plenty of input on what happened in practice. But with the regular season, it's a totally different scenario because beat writers are allowed to basically be there for the warm-ups, and that's it. They're not able to see any practice. They can't come out and say, oh, Matthew Golden had a great day today in practice. Micah Parsons was all over the field and almost sacked Jordan Love 4 times. We don't get any of that in the regular season, because in the regular season, the beat writers are allowed to watch the warm-ups, and then they're asked to leave, and practice is in the field house. So it's very limited as far as what we get for what's going on in practice. And we're going to talk about how that might play into some gamesmanship by Matt LaFleur in the next segment. But right now we're going to talk about practice participation. So for practice on Wednesday, Zane Anderson with a knee injury had limited participation. Not worried about that, just happy to see him on the field practicing. I don't expect to see Zane Anderson on the field on Sunday. I expect he will not be an active participant in that game. Nate Hobbs' knee did not participate. I'm a little worried about this because I want to see if he practices Thursday and Friday. That is really the key time for Nate Hobbs. Now, if Nate Hobbs practices at least by Friday, I think there's a good chance he could be your starter at outside corner on Sunday. If he doesn't practice by Saturday, I think the best you're going to get out of Nate Hobbs in this game on Sunday is possibly being in the slot as a nickel defender. We're going to have to see how this goes. Nate Hobbs is vitally important to this Packers team throughout the course of the season. And I do have a lot of confidence in Carrington Valentine if he has to start in place of Nate Hobbs for one game. My big question is if Nate Hobbs can't play, at least limited in the slot, then we're going to probably have Javon Bullard go into the nickel as the slot defender, and that's a little problematic because Amon St. Brown ate his lunch week 14 and week 9 for that matter when he was playing as the nickel slot. So we're going to have to see what happens there. I'm not so much worried about Nate Hobbs versus Carrington Valentine. I think Valentine had a great training camp. Throw his 7th round draft out of the window at this point. He is a very solid corner on the outside. And that just shows that Brian Gutekunst did a great job of drafting him. He's not just, he's a 7th rounder, break in case of glass. He is a legitimate starting corner in the NFL. So I'm not worried about Valentine. I'm more worried about how that will impact who is going to guard Amon St. Brown in the nickel on 3rd and long. That's really what I'm worried about there. Elton Jenkins, limited participation in practice. So what that means is Elton Jenkins is probably, barring a setback on Thursday or Friday, good to go for this game. With the fact that you have your entire offensive line now looking good for week 1, that is a really good update for the Green Bay Packers. Elton Jenkins is listed with a hip injury. Now, it's interesting because in the past, he was designated with a back injury. So this might be a new injury that we haven't heard about before. But the fact that he is practicing... Now, don't be surprised if Thursday they give Elton Jenkins the day off and he then practices on Friday. They might be alternating days. They might do the same thing with Banks at left guard because he's also dealing with a back injury. But it looks to me that on game time on Sunday, Jordan Love is going to have his entire offensive line intact. And that's very important not only for the starting offensive line, but that gives you Jordan Morgan as a player off the bench. So if you have an injury in the game, Jordan Morgan can go in and play either of the guard spots or either of the tackle spots. So that gives us the depth that really is a valuable portion of what makes the Packers such a great team, is we have great depth on the offensive line. Jordan Love had full participation. He currently has a brace and some tape on his left thumb. When he was interviewed yesterday, he said he's able to practice just fine. He's able to do everything he would normally do with that left thumb. Handoffs are normal. Snaps are normal. So I think Jordan Love is going to be 100% good to go unless he has a setback Thursday or Friday for this game. So it's not just that Jordan Love is going to play. It's that he should be able to run around. He should be able to take snaps. He should be able to do handoffs just like normal in this game. So that's great news for Jordan Love. Micah Parsons was a limited participant in practice. So we're going to talk about that a little later and how I'm not worried about that at all. I think this is a bit of gamesmanship. Micah Parsons, I think, is going to be fine in this game physically. They might give him some back treatment, but everybody in the NFL gets back treatment or leg treatment or calf treatment. It's a very physical sport, but I don't think Micah Parsons is going to be limited physically. It's more about learning how the defense works and how they can use him best. And we're going to talk about that in the next segment, so I'm not going to bury the lead, as they like to say. Jaden Reed, foot injury, did not participate, but it's okay. All right? There's no reason to panic about Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed was interviewed after practice, and he said this was a planned day of rest while he recovers from his foot injury. So if the game was today, Jaden Reed would be playing and would be fine. So Jaden Reed is resting. There's no reason to believe that his foot injury is going to be a problem for Sunday. Also, you have to keep in mind that Matthew Golden was named a starting outside wide receiver along with Romeo Doubs just 2 days ago. That means in 2 receiver sets, you're probably going to see Golden and on the outside, lost my train of thought there, not Jaden Reed. So Jaden Reed is feeling like the third wide receiver and the slot wide receiver, which is not a bad thing to do while he's recovering from this foot injury. So expect we're going to see Jaden Reed in 3 wide receiver sets in this game against the Lions. Not 2 wide receiver sets, 3 wide receiver sets. That's going to limit his snaps. It's going to make sure that he is fully at 100% when he's out there on limited reps. Darren Sorrell has limited participation with a knee injury. That's something that we're going to want to watch closely. It's less of an issue for Darren Sorrell because with the addition of Micah Parsons, at least for week 2, when I think Micah Parsons will probably start all of the game, Darren Sorrell is a depth piece that is of lower importance because you've got LVN that is basically going to be your third defensive lineman off the bench, so to speak. So we're going to have Sorrell probably as like the 5th or 6th option. But he might get some time in defensive tackle because we might need some additional bodies there. So we're going to have to see what happens there. Dontavian Wicks, calf injury, limited participation. Not worried about Wicks at all. I think Wicks will be fine for this game. They'll numb up his calf and he will be good to go for this game. They're just giving him limited reps to make sure that calf doesn't tighten up on him before Sunday. Savion Williams, hamstring, limited participations. I don't think Savion Williams is going to be a factor in this game against the Lions. In fact, I think Savion Williams will probably be a healthy scratch in this game because I think the wide receivers, they need to have wide receivers out there as much as possible that can help in the game. And Savion Williams just isn't there yet in his development. I would rather have Malik Heath out there because he can help on special teams, and he is a depth wide receiver for this team that knows the offense really well. So I expect Savion Williams to be a healthy scratch on Sunday, and that's okay. Savion Williams is the type of player we need to develop over time, especially given his injuries in the preseason and in training camp. He just needs time. Doesn't mean he's a bust. Doesn't mean he's a disappointment as a 3rd-round pick. He's a developmental player that needs time. And the Green Bay Packers are really good at bringing their wide receivers along slowly, regardless of where they were drafted. Devontae Adams was brought along slowly. Donald Driver brought along slowly. There's a history of Packers receivers who are brought along slowly and then they produce on the field. So, not going to worry about that. In fact, I would say Matthew Golden is actually the exception of the rule because he's played so well in practice and preseason that they can't keep him off the field. He's going to be a difference maker in this game. In fact, I saw that the over and under for Matthew Golden in this game is ridiculously low. It is 40 yards or more. Personally, I'm going to put a nice little chunk of change on Matthew Golden getting over 40 yards in this game. He will have 40 yards probably before the first half is over. So if you're looking for an interesting bet in this game, a little bit of juice that might not be factored by whether the Packers win or lose, Matthew Golden, 40 or more yards is a nice little combo. In fact, you could do a fun little parlay. I think The over and under for Jordan Love, I think, is 200 yards. Matthew Golden is 40 yards or more. So imagine putting in Jordan Morgan, Packers giving the points or the money line, and Jordan Love plus plus 200 yards. And I think Josh Jacobs is 80, 85 yards. Put me down for that as a great little parlay in this game. Because if the Packers are going to win, Jordan Love is going to get over 200 yards. Matthew Golden's going to get over 40 yards. Josh Jacobs is going to get over 80 yards. If all those things happen, so one of the things, sorry, this is a tangent, but one of the things that people don't understand about parlays is you can play the parlays by juicing it. What I mean is, if you believe the Packers are going to win this game, right? Then you find a couple things that are likely to happen if the Packers win, and then you parlay those all in, and you can get 3 or 4 times the odds, really based on one assumption, which is the Packers are going to win the game. So just a little gambling tip for you. Remember to gamble responsibly. This is not supported by any gambling sites. However, gambling sites, we'd love to look at some endorsements. Send me an email at packattackcast@gmail.com. Be happy to do a little partnership with some gambling sites. So let's see that happen. Incidentally, we will be doing some Q&A on Saturday as part of our preseason, our pregame show. So if you have any questions that you would like me to answer on our pregame show on Saturday, send an email to packattackcast@gmail.com, and if I select you, your question will be featured on our pregame show on Saturday. I'm pre-recording that on Friday because I'll be traveling to Green Bay on Saturday. So get those in by Friday afternoon, and you might just have your question on our pregame show on Saturday. So let's talk about Matt LaFleur. And I think Matt LaFleur is being coy about Micah Parsons. Matt LaFleur loves to be vague about injury issues. And in particular on Micah Parsons, it's we'll see, maybe he'll play, don't know yet, we hope he'll play, all these buzzwords, right? But there was some video that came out in warm-ups just yesterday of Micah Parsons warming up. He was hitting sleds, he was jumping vertically to catch balls, which is something the coaching staff would not let him do if this was a serious injury. They would very much limit him in practice. His limited participation in practice, I think, has more to do with the fact that he's learning the defense than actual physical limitations. Because the tape I saw yesterday, he was going vertical in the air, catching the ball after he hit a sled. They would not have him doing those maneuvers with his back if they thought it would impact his back. So I think his back is fine. It's really all about learning the defense. I think Micah Parsons is going to get 15 to 20 snaps in this game. If nothing else, it's going to be when they could put him on the field and say, go get Jared Goff on this down. It's 3rd and long. You can move anywhere you want to get your best matchup, but go get Jared Goff. In those situations, Micah Parsons will 100% be on the field on Sunday. And I do expect Micah Parsons to be close to most of the snaps by the time we play the Commanders on Thursday night next week, because I think Micah Parsons is going to absorb this defense really quickly and be an impact player before you know it. And by week 3 against the Browns, Micah Parsons is probably going to be a full-time starter for the Packers. Period, full stop. barring an injury. So let's talk about keys to winning this game. I try to bring up a couple keys to winning the game each stream to give you guys some stuff to prepare for this game. Stopping the run early might be key to winning the game. If the Packers can lead and put pressure on the Lions to produce and stop the run and force them into passing scenarios where Micah Parsons can impact the game, I think that will be the key. The Packers need to try to stop the run. It's a real weakness against weakness scenario in this game. The Packers' defensive line in the interior has to adjust for the loss of Kenny Clark, Kenny Clark, and they have to adjust for that, and that's going to be a weakness for the Packers in this game. But the Lions have 3 new starters in the interior offensive line, which would have to open up holes against that defensive line in this game. So I truly think we have weakness against weakness in this game, and whichever group, either the Packers defensive line with help from the linebackers or the Lions interior line, which is very inexperienced, whichever of those 2 groups win could easily determine this game. So the Packers need to hold serve on runs in the interior early in this game, 1,000%. Matt LaFleur yesterday, when he was interviewed, talked about stopping the run as a team effort and that all 11 members of the defense need to rally when the back has the ball. So that's the key thing. The Packers have to be careful because week 14 last year against the Lions, they were torched by play action by Jared Goff. So they've got to stay home, especially the corners and the safeties, until they see the running back with the ball, and then they need to swarm and stop the run. So that's a big key for this week. So I'll be back again tomorrow with another edition of the Pack Attack Cast. We'll give you an update on Thursday's participation in practice, try to give you some other news and notes to get you ready for the game, because we only have 3 more days to prepare for this game, and I'm so excited about seeing this game on Sunday live. I think the Packers fans need to make this an electric stadium. It's a home opener for the first time in 7 years. It's against the Lions, and it's the debut of Micah Parsons for your Packers. If you can't get excited about this game, I don't know what you're doing at the stadium. There should be yelling and screaming, and I don't expect to be sitting that much. And I'll apologize to the people that are behind me, but I don't plan on being seated. I'm going to get this right. Very much in this game, because I am going to be so pumped about this game. I actually have a business meeting on Tuesday, and I'm actually already worried that I might not have a voice for that business meeting, which should be very interesting on Tuesday. So we'll be back tomorrow with some more thoughts on the game on Sunday. We'll give you an update on practice notes, and maybe we'll get some more sound today from Matt LaFleur about whether Micah Parsons will be playing or not in this game. I think Matt LaFleur is smartly being very coy about Parsons. I think Parsons will play 15 to 20 snaps minimum in this game on 3rd down, 4th and goal, any of those situations where he can help make the game win or lose. Micah Parsons is going to be in this game. They're going to find ways to use him. So, and also a prediction, if you're at the game, I think they're going to have the offense come on first. They're going to have the defense come onto the field last. And I think they're going to announce Micah Parsons last as he leaves the tunnel. And I think the whole stadium is going to be rocking and rolling. And we need to show the Lions that this is Lambeau Field, not Packers. It's Lambeau Field. It's not Lions Away Stadium or Lions Victory Stadium. I've heard those names bantied about. This is Lambeau effing Field, and the Packers fans are going to be making noise whenever the Lions touch the ball on offense. So that's my predictions. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode of the Pack Attack Cast. We'll see you then. As always, go Pack Go. 4 more days until it starts. You know, at training camp, they have a sign all around training camp. It says it all starts here in training camp. Well, for me, the regular season starts in 4 days, guys. 4 days. And if the Packers can win that game and make a statement to the NFC North, it is going to be a great season for the Packers. If they lose, close game, it's not a deal breaker, but I would love to see the Packers have a great Micah Parsons debut, win a game against a division rival, and start out in first place in the NFC North after Sunday. See you then. Talk to you later.